Welcome back. Glad you're here. It's Wednesday, April 1st. April Fool's Day on the Fun Astrology Podcast. Thomas Miller, good morning, good afternoon, whenever you're catching this. I appreciate you stopping by. We're going to talk about what's going on up in the sky, and there is a lot going on. All right, yesterday, if you didn't catch the podcast, I would suggest if you have the time, go back and listen, because it was really kind of the stage set of what was probably one of the bigger astrological conjunctions since Saturn-Pluto, and that was the conjunction of Mars and Saturn in Aquarius. Now, whenever you get a conjunction of that magnitude, it's a big deal. It's a big energetic deal, but maybe not on that day. So this is where I was saying, and as I think we just have to stay in the observer mode. So the question you could ask is, have we mostly experienced the waxing of that conjunction? In other words, the last 2 weeks or so leading up to it, or is it a trip of the domino and we're going to see some of the after effects in the weeks ahead? That one I will leave up to prognosticators and forecasters far more experienced than I to deal with that one. I'll just watch and wait, and we'll see. But it could be either one. Or it could be, like I've been saying, that the macro energy is just so powerful that more micro form gets kind of swept along with the current. And actually, I spent quite a bit of time yesterday reviewing a number of other events around all of this that I'm not going to go into right now, but it looks like the macro is even bigger than I thought. So it very well could be that a Mars-Saturn conjunction, even as ominous as you might think that would be, might just be overshadowed by the magnitude of the bigger picture. But we do have several other things happening this week. This is a really busy week. So today, the moon is in first quarter, and the moon today is in Cancer, about 14 degrees. So it moves into Leo tomorrow at 2:25 p.m. Now, these times are all in Eastern time zone, so if you're fairly new to the podcast, thanks for joining us. Usually give the times in Eastern time, and then everybody can back them up from there. Now, another big planetary change is Venus steps out of its home sign Taurus into Gemini on Friday. That'll happen at 1:02 p.m. Eastern. Now, the other big thing on Friday is another big day because Mercury conjuncts Neptune in Pisces. That will happen at 9:15 p.m. Neptune today is at 19 degrees. Mercury is at 16, so that's the gap that will be closed, about 3¼ degrees. So we have the moon moving into Leo. We have Venus moving into Gemini. And then we have Mercury conjuncting Neptune. Now, Neptune rules Pisces, but Mercury, according to ancient astrology now, Mercury is in detriment in Pisces. So it ain't happy. There again, macro, micro. Is Mercury's unhappiness in Pisces, which otherwise might show up in bigger and more prominent ways, just being overshadowed and flowing down the river and really isn't able to express itself as normal? Or does it fold into the whole picture of what we've been experiencing? These are astrological questions that we can grapple with. And if it's not completely overshadowed, then what does that energetic alignment look like for us? Could it be some temporary end of the week tapping down, diminishing of intuitive prompts? Could it mean a confusion around communication, confusion around knowledge? Could there be some misinformation about the progress of the virus, for example? Could there be some kind of a disruption in communication? Those things would be part of that energy. Now, another thing that I think you have to combine with this is next Tuesday, we have the next full moon, and that will be in Libra. So that puts the closing parentheses on this big week of activity. So once again, Venus moves into Gemini, Mercury conjoins Neptune in Pisces. And then the moon moves from Cancer to Leo to Virgo to Libra, where it goes full on Tuesday. Also next Tuesday, on the day of the full moon, Mars squares Uranus. Remember, we talked about that with Mars having moved into Aquarius, that it was going to move faster. It takes 6 weeks to go through a sign approximately. So it is going to square Uranus at 5 degrees. Mars will be at 5 degrees Aquarius, and Uranus will be at 5 degrees Taurus. So there again, do we get all excited about that with Mars squaring Uranus on a day that the that the moon is full in Libra? Or do we just realize that all of these things are basically in the flow of a much bigger picture? One of the things that I've come away with, that I will leave you with here, is that just a calm reassurance that even through the turbulence, the same promise of Saturn-Pluto holds true. And that is that what is on the other side of this is going to be oh so much better. We just have to get across the bridge. And that's where we are right now. So I mentioned on a Facebook Live that we did yesterday on the Subconscious Mind Mastery podcast Facebook page. If you're not there and you'd like to be, just come over and join, because we do periodically some Facebook Lives there. I'm trying to do them a couple of times a week now. And mentioned on there yesterday of just releasing into this process. Because, again, we're in a river that is just moving faster and bigger than any of us. And I think we just have to just jump along for the ride, because that's really seems to be what this is more about. All right, so that's it for kind of setting up the rest of the week. We'll follow the energy as it unfolds from there. Have a great April Fool's Day. I'm not even going there. Not even going there. Have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye.